Welcome to the PAGCAST, where we provide regular interviews with pharmacy leaders, entrepreneurs, and members of the Platform Alliance Group. We cover the key challenges, opportunities, and practical solutions for pharmacy leaders. The pharmacy industry is a dynamic and vital part of the healthcare industry, impacting the lives of millions of Australians. But we know that success in this ever-evolving landscape requires more than just a prescription for medication. It calls for a unique blend of knowledge, adaptability, and a vision for the future. I'm your host, Melody Mugari, and together we will embark on a journey of empowerment, motivation, and growth. My guest today is proudly brought to you by the Platform Alliance Group, Australia's fastest-growing community pharmacy group. Gary is the proprietor of Chemist Discount Centre Gosnells, which is one of 6 finalists vying for the title of Guild Pharmacy of the Year 2024. Chemist Discount Centre Gosnells has adapted and changed over the years as they have identified needs within their community. Gosnells is a very multicultural community with patients that have needs and require support and resources to assist them with their ongoing health concerns. Gary is extremely proud to be a discount pharmacy, and he has been heard many a time stating that they discount on products but not on service. Today you will hear the programs and technology that he has implemented to achieve this. Gary, it's been a while since we last spoke. I think the last time was at the PAG Summit.
That's correct. That's correct.
And at that PAG Summit, you were winning awards left, right, and center.
Yeah, it was an exciting time. Yes. Very.
You actually won the Platform Alliance Group Pharmacist of the Year Award for 2020.
Was for CDC. I think it was for CDC.
Yeah.
For the CDC group. Yeah.
That's a pretty big achievement, Gary.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Like, out of all the pharmacies in Australia, to be singled out like that is a testament to just everything that you do for your community. Simply is.
Thank you.
And I applaud you for that. But
thank you very much.
Hold up.
Yep.
The drum roll doesn't stop right there, does it?
Yes.
You are the first Chemist Discount to be nominated in the Guild Pharmacy of the Year for 2020. 2024.
24. Yes. I mean, it's been an honor to have my work recognized and being nominated, and subsequently, being the finalist. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I can bring back the big award. So let's hope.
Yeah, you can bring the trophy home.
I hope so too. Right.
So I just want to delve into your background a little bit. So you've been a pharmacist owner at CDC Chemist Discount Centre Gosnells for about 15 years, for over 15 years.
Yeah.
But what made you start? What brought you to pharmacy? What drew you to pharmacy?
Okay, so, it goes back, right? So because of my background, every kid wants to be a doctor. But, I'm not smart enough to become a doctor back then. So pharmacy would be the next obvious choice. True story. So was it something you chose, or was it something that your parents sort of said, hey... No. This is what it's my choice. It is my choice to go into pharmacy. Yes, and I never look back, and I won't regret it. It's really good.
I know.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. It wasn't my first choice at all. Yeah. Not at all. But now that I'm in it, I can't go back. Yeah. It's like in my blood. It gets into your blood. Were you always in WA?
Yes, I have been. I have been in WA since...
Which uni did you go? Did you go to Curtin?
Yes. At that time, I think there was only Curtin that offers the pharmacy, because that was back in, 1998 when I came over. Back then, there was only Curtin that offers the B Farm. Yep.
Okay. I was a Murdoch girl. So I was a hop, skip, and a jump from you.
Yeah, Murdoch didn't offer pharmacy until later, I believe.
Yes, until around 2006 when it
Yeah,
was now the postgrad.
yeah, 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 correct. During my time, was only Curtin that offers the B farm. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that's very true. So it was even back then, I would have said it was hard to get into. If once university in WA, if you think about it, offered the 4-year degree, it would have been
yeah,
high competition even
yeah,
back
yeah, yeah,
then.
absolutely. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every day when you go to work, there's that one thing that keeps driving you to keep going and keep doing better. Because even while I was reading your blurb of your nomination to be Guild Pharmacy of the Year, it's just astounding the amount of things you've achieved and the motivation that you have.
Yes, I mean, in order for me to do what I do, I suppose the team around me is very important. To have that team support and the system in place that allows me to, I suppose, explore other revenue or income stream for the business. I guess that is a driving force for me. How can I do better? I'm doing this well, but how can I do better? Is there a more efficient way? So that's sort of the driving force behind, all my strategies. Yeah.
Because you've
Cool.
gone into technology, you've
Yes.
embraced technology.
Yes.
And Right is the biggest implementation that you've made in the pharmacy to the point where you've actually realized quite a big marginal difference when it comes to your financial revenue, just simply in that stock control area.
Yes.
Your loyalty platform, you've got over 5,000 loyalty customers on your database alone.
Yes.
And you've also put in a robot within the dispensary.
Yes, that's correct. And also in the DAA packing area. So I've got
Your
2 robots.
DAA packing.
Yes, correct.
Because you've got over 250, 500 DAA patients?
250, 260, maybe 260 DAA patients. That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. So what is the biggest element you have discovered? The qualities of putting all this technology within the pharmacy. What is the biggest advantage you've actually realized? Is it obviously it makes life easier? Definitely makes life easier.
Yes. So maybe I'll go back to my previous life with another brand. I'll start from there because I was with another brand for over 10 years. They do quite well back then. But because we have a Chemist Warehouse, another discounter, obviously Chemist Warehouse is opposite across the road, literally just across the highway. No, when they say the highway, it's just literally just across the road from us. I have been experiencing a decline in customer numbers, in revenue, and in margin with my previous brand. So we need to make a change. So in 2018, we were deciding, okay, so which are the brand that we should go into that would have an impact in our business. So we looked at a few discounter and we chose CDC. And this has proven to be, the best thing that could happen to us at that time. Because with the automation, as you said, Bite Right, that sort of eliminates the need for a stock controller, so to speak. So I can redeploy my staff to the front of shop on the floor because all the invoicing, all the ordering, all the data entry, all the, for example, pricing issues that we used to have to do on a daily basis has been taken over by head office or by the system. So I don't really even have to look at what I'm ordering because the system will do a order based on my forecast. So I used to have 2 big storeroom in my pharmacy. My pharmacy is about 440 square meter. So I used to have a storeroom at the back and a storeroom at the front. And those 2 storerooms were packed chock-a-block with stock. So ever since we converted, we have managed to drop our stock level. So I think my stock on hand was over 650 when I was with my previous brand. And that's because of, the buying, the decision making that my stock controller or my retail manager did at that time was based on emotion. So once, technology takes over, everything is streamlined, I managed to, reduce my stock on hand from 650 to about 500. So that's a massive savings and especially with our cash flow. And then my storeroom now, I only have one small storeroom and not much stock in there. So all my stock are all on the floor selling.
It's out in the shop where it should be.
Yes, correct. Yes, that's correct. So automation,
and it also gives you the opportunity to repurpose that piece of real estate, because we know that real estate in a pharmacy is precious.
Correct. So once we remove that to storeroom, we have incorporated a proper consult room, because previously it was just, I think from memory, the consult room was only 2 meter by 1 meter, tiny consult room. And it's just not enough to do vaccinations and things like that. So once we, made that change, we created a consult room, a proper 3x3 consult room, which we can fit a bed in there. And that has proven to be the best decision, because then COVID hits. So we use that consult room for vaccination. So we at that time were doing around 80 vaccinations a day. So I'm running 2 sessions, 2 pharmacists running that. So if without that consult room, I won't be able to do that. And also because we have repurposed our storeroom to only one, so I've used that extra space to being repurposed to a DAA packing room with the robot inside. So yeah. So
that's amazing. So your motivation to become a chemist discount center pharmacy was purely based by the competition that entered the community, or were there other factors that contributed to that?
Competition is one. And I suppose the support from the brand was also an important factor. With the previous brand, they tried to be everything to everyone, which then created a lot of work to my team. For example, they want to be a they want to offer a discounter price, not being a discounter. So it doesn't have a system and support at the background to support the rollout of the pricing strategy, which means that we are constantly putting ticket up, putting ticket down, prices keep changing, there's no consistency. And for example, I suppose not being a discounter at that time, when you advertise for, during the winter season, the cough and cold at a discounted price, imagine Chemist Warehouse, and doesn't have the strategy behind to support that, I'm just giving away margin. So not only I'm having to give away, and I'm not only doing a lot of work, I'm giving a lot of margin away with no uplift in volume. So to me, that doesn't make sense, and I suppose it's not relevant in my area anymore. So therefore, I'm looking at a true discounter that offers efficiencies, improves my workflow, and have the support behind and the strategy to support. So it's proven to be working very well for me.
That's really good. It's really good to hear, actually. Because yesterday you actually spoke at one of those, it was a dinner, wasn't it?
It was to sort of
potential.
I didn't really speak in that, but I was there to answer questions if anyone has any questions regarding the CDC brand.
What is the one question most people asked? What was the one question?
Actually, they didn't really ask a lot of questions. I guess it's more of Theo and Steve were talking, and Fel was talking, and was showing them what could be achieved from a discount model. Being sort of, I suppose, in Theo's word, was the first discount brand to be nominated as one of the finalists. So it just shows that if you want to be, whatever you want to be, the brand is very supportive, and they have the system in place to take you to where you want to be. So, it's Yeah.
And it's quite interesting that you say that, Gary, because I guess discounters have always had sort of a bad connotation to them.
Yeah.
And it's purely not for anyone's fault. I think it's just even the retail industry. People see a discounter as just packed with stock. Customer service is low. You don't get what you paid for, basically. You're there for the low prices.
Yeah.
But your pharmacy is very different. The CDC brand is very different. You don't compromise on the elements that keep you being the professionals within the community. If anything, you actually embrace and enhance the professional services.
Yeah.
But then you also realize that you need to offer the competitive prices to your patients as well, especially in the location where you are.
So I suppose I'll share another story. It just happened yesterday. So we don't discount we discount on price. We don't discount on service. So one example is yesterday there was a patient, true story, a patient was being prescribed rosuvastatin and metformin. So one for cholesterol, one for sugar, and the cholesterol level was quite high. So I spent time in, asking the lady, have you used this before and what are your conditions? And she said, no, this is the first time. So I've gone through all the recommendation, the education, the counseling, from how to take the medication to lifestyle changes, try and cut down on fat, eat lean meat, so chicken, fish, reduce on carb because that would convert into sugar, and then exercise, 30 minutes physical activity every day, and then we talk about smoking. So she said to me she smokes 50 cigarettes a day. So I said, okay, right. So now you've got cholesterol, you've got sugar, you don't have blood pressure yet, but we know that these three comes hand in hand together. So you gotta watch. And being a heavy smoker doesn't help. So we went through the range of NRTs. And then I spoke about the NVP, which is nicotine vaping products. And she wasn't aware. So once I've educated her about the benefit between, having NRTs or NVPs, she's very interested to try the nicotine vaping product. So she asked me, how can I get it? So I just said, look, I've got a relationship with the doctor next door. I can, book you in. Please go and see the doctor and come back. So she went away, came back with a prescription, and I went through and I dispensed it. And I, subsequently gave it to her, took it into the room, counseled her on how to use it. And she said to me, Gary, if you haven't spoken to me about NVP or if I don't have that script, I would have literally picked up my medicine, go to Coles and buy a packet of the 50 cigarettes. So to me, it seems like, I've converted another patient.
Yes.
But it does take time. It does take effort and energy and I suppose knowledge as well. But the outcome is patient benefits. And she's going to come back to see me on Thursday to tell me how she goes. So so we don't discount on service. So that's the way. Yeah.
That's amazing because you literally have become a catalyst of change in this one person's life.
Yeah. Correct.
And imagine having those same kind of conversations with every person that comes through those doors and doing, even if it's a small little change to how they do life, that is for their benefit.
Yeah. So So I can only do so much myself. So the next phase for me would be to educate my team to become,
experts.
Yes, experts, subject matter experts in nicotine vapes or quit smoking or smoking cessation. Yes, so that's my goal. That's my short-term goal, which is to bring all my other staff members.
That's a short-term goal.
Yeah,
That's short. Okay.
That's short.
You said something in that story that caught my attention. That you actually work closely with the doctors in your area.
Yeah.
Intercollaboration.
Yes.
And that is something that you're noticing more and more these days, that we now need to sort of build that cocoon or that family around the patient, that it cannot be doctor does one thing, then sends it to the pharmacist, then patient. It now literally has to be a joint effort to bring the better patient outcomes to the patient.
Yeah.
I read somewhere in an article that you actually have also moved in the cannabis space, the medicinal cannabis space, but you've positioned yourself in such a way that you're a leading expert in your area, to the point where you interact with some of the doctors in this space for your customers, for the benefit of your customers.
Yes, that's correct. That is correct. And it's taken a while for me to get to where I am. Back in, I think medicinal cannabis is being legalized in Australia in 2016. And I wasn't really sort of, really that keen and interested. I suppose maybe it's the negative stigma that is attached to medicinal cannabis, and the lack of knowledge. It's only when, starting 2020, 21 is where I really wanted to start a clinic, and I really sort of wanted to upskill myself to be, I suppose, the expert in this area. So working with a lot of the reps, trying to upskill myself, try to get more knowledge, attend webinars and things like that. Then I am equipped to go to my fellow doctor colleagues and tell them about this particular product. Yes, as I said, there is a negative stigma attached to it. I speak to many, many, many doctors, and I have a lot of knockbacks. Some just say purely not interested, doesn't work. I don't want to know, I'm too busy. That's a very common phrase that I hear, too busy. But you might get, one or two or three out of, maybe, 10, 20 doctors that I spoke to. And then you just work with those doctors that are, like-minded, that wanted to know a little bit more about this particular area. Then you develop that relationship, you develop that trust, and you start to have that sort of, recommendation or referral, so to speak. So in this medicinal space, I suppose I'll share another story. I've got a patient with me who is about 65 years old, was suffering from pain, and literally was having spasm when I was speaking to her back in those days. So she would just, normal conversation, and then she would just freeze. Oh, Gary, hang on a second. She would just have that, that type of spasm. Was on a walker, can't really walk without the help. Very dizzy, needs someone to carry her along. So it's very, I suppose her condition was very debilitating. So one day I was visiting a colleague at a doctor colleague at another practice, and she was in the waiting room seeing that. It's not even my doctor's surgery. It's probably a 5K surgery practice. I just happened to be there and happened to saw her. And she was just chatting to me because, she was my patient. She is my patient at my pharmacy. And we sat down in the waiting room chatting. And we just touched on the topic of medicinal cannabis. I said, look, you've tried everything. It doesn't seem to be working for you. So she was on Palexia, she was on Lyrica, she was on Tramadol, and she was on Panadol Osteo, but still, not sort of giving her enough relief. So we were talking about medicinal cannabis. I said, hey, why don't you have a chat to your doc and see whether he agrees? If he agrees, ask him if he is an authorized prescriber for medicinal cannabis. If he is not, ask for his permission to go see another doctor. So she went and had that consult with the doctor. The doctor is not an AP authorized prescriber, but he's happy for her to try medicinal cannabis. So I said, great, come to this doctor, which is next to my pharmacy. So I made a booking for her. So I gave the the cannabis doctor a list of, I suppose, a complete overview of her condition. Plus, I gave him her dispensing history, and he knows what he's doing. And we've got the patient to see the doctor. We started her on what we so-called a balanced product. So she only takes 0.1 mil at night for a couple of nights. And then if it's not enough relief, then you can go 0.1 mil morning and night. And it would just titrate according to her response, so to speak. So after a couple of weeks, I think maybe it's about 3 weeks into the medicinal cannabis, her pain level was improved. So her pain level was about 8 or 9 before she sees the doc, and she's being put on medicinal cannabis. Then her pain level dropped from 8 to 4 within 3 weeks. After 6 to 8 weeks, she came off Palexia, and she came off Lyrica, and she came off Tramadol, and she was only taking Panadine Forte, PRN, and that's it. Everything else, and the pain level was from 8 to maybe 1 or 2, and subsequently 0. And she said to me, "Gary, I've gained back 20 years of my life." She's no longer on a wheelchair.
Oh,
she no longer have those spasms. And price. So from a patient perspective, massive improvement, right? So it gives myself confident that it does work, and it also gives the doctor confident that yes, it does work. So having her advocating that, I know she becomes telling her friends and patients and how medicinal cannabis has helped her, so she could, I suppose in a way. Yes, and
she's now living.
Yeah, and obviously it's not under PBS, so price is a factor for her. So we work with her health insurance, and subsequently she gets it subsidized. She gets some money back from her health fund, so which is another positive. So that's sort of the journey. So that's
those
sort
are
of
the good stories.
Yes. So that's
those are the good stories.
So that's the kind of thing that I'm sort of advocating and detailing the doctors now. If you ask me, Gary, what is the challenge? What is the challenge in this particular space? So the challenge is to get the doctors on board, because of the negative stigma, because of the lack of knowledge. That is the most challenging bit, to find the doctors. I like to say, when I have that sort of doctors that are a bit reluctant, not to say I would challenge them, but I would sort of question them. I say, look, doc, if someone has a broken bone, right, and they've been presented to ED, you have no issue prescribing morphine tablets to them. And they'll say, yes, that's correct. Morphine is a very common opioid that they prescribe. You put 2 morphine together, that's heroin. So you have no issue prescribing heroin, which is highly addictive. And we know that it can be overdose and can be dependent, right? Which also comes from a plant. You don't have problems prescribing that. But yet they have issue prescribing medicinal cannabis, which is on the other side of the spectrum. Can't overdose, low dependency from a plant. Why? I guess that's because, that negative stigma that is attached to that and the lack of knowledge. So that is the challenge. That's the challenge. That's the challenge.
And it's the truth. You said it. It's got a history of not being acceptable.
Yeah.
We've conditioned ourselves to say it is not the acceptable form, and it's purely for recreational, for the euphoric effect. And now we're saying, wait a minute, we need to revisit this.
Yeah.
But we now need to re-educate ourselves so that we've got a different mindset
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's a bother ethically. Sometimes you're thinking, oh, but then when you hear these stories and see these results, you can't deny it, can you?
Yes. I mean, it's not, I mean, you cannot correct. And there are studies right now to explore the other benefits of medicinal cannabis. For example, I think they're looking at anti-cancer. I think for prostate cancer, there is some clinical trials to show that it helps in that area. And also, like obviously epilepsy, it's sort of one of the main use of medicinal cannabis.
Yes,
pain, anxiety, depression, insomnia, and things like that. So,
autism, ADHD,
yeah.
It's a myriad. It's like wonder drug almost.
Correct. I mean, it's probably
a multitude.
Probably it's not for everyone, but certain group of patients, I think they will benefit. They will definitely benefit from that.
You also said something while we were talking before about nicotine vaping products, and you said that one of your short-term goals is to upskill your team so that they can be experts.
Yes, correct.
I'm curious to hear what your vision is for CDC Gosnells Chemist Discount Center Gosnells. What's your vision? What, with all these things that you're doing, with everything that you're pioneering in your area, what do you see? What do you see? Tell me, what do you see?
Okay, so the three areas that I'm focusing right now are medicinal cannabis, nicotine vape, and also NDIS. So I've just passed my NDIS audit.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. So I am in the process of becoming a NDIS provider. So because Gosnells, from in my area, there are a lot of patients with disability. I just wanted to explore that option, continue to grow my medicinal cannabis and nicotine vaping patient base by giving, educating patients when they come in, upscaling my team, because there's only one of me, but I have 7 other, staff member, pharmacists and pharmacists included, that we can all be on the same page. We all have the knowledge, so we can serve, not just one patient, but we could serve potentially, 7 to 8 patients at a time. And that's where I think we can sort of try to scale it at a pharmacy level from what I can control. And then, who knows where this will take us. Yes. And I just continue. I suppose my role is then, because I'm not being bogged down with the day-to-day running of the business because of the systems and the automation in place that allows me to, go out and interact with the doctors, interact with the allied health provider. So that's my next step. So firstly, I'll target the doctors. Then I might go and approach or detail the allied health providers like physiotherapists, chiro, psychologists, etc. Just so that, we can provide a holistic care to the patient. Because, for example, like patient that has got pain, we want them to move, but they don't know how to move, right? So because they are pain, they're scared. So the doctor can refer them to, let's just say, an ex-phys that would sort of design a program that is suitable for their condition. And that can be under Medicare as well. So that's a more holistic approach that I want to achieve, that I can see that would benefit the patient with all my strategies, right? The number one strategy is, number one has to be legal, first of all. And then 2, patient has to benefit. If the patient doesn't benefit, there's no point doing. And then 3, it has to be profitable for me, the pharmacy, and obviously for the other providers. So if I follow this particular strategy and that priority, I don't get any pushback from the doctors to say that, look, I don't want to do this and stuff like that. So they're usually very receptive and they listen to what I have to say. And this is what I suppose what I enjoy doing is try to develop programs that is beneficial to the patient, beneficial to the pharmacy, and beneficial to the provider. So what programs? Yes. So this is, I like to sort of develop this so that I could roll it out. Yeah, that would be like my vision. Yes.
And one thing you said, that it has to be beneficial to all stakeholders, and people tend to forget that.
Yeah.
That everyone needs to benefit from programs that are delivered.
Yeah.
Because the pharmacy itself needs to thrive for the sake of the patient.
That is correct. Correct.
If the pharmacy is not thriving, then it doesn't deliver the care that the patient needs. It's not there to support the prescribers in the area.
Yeah.
So it's crucial that the pharmacy actually thrives.
I agree. If one part or one party is compromising the balance, I suppose, then this strategy will not work. It's just not sustainable if one party has to compromise. So everyone has to win.
Well, thank you so much for your time today.
No problem.
We're going to conclude, but I've got 2 more questions for you. One comes from ChatGPT, and one comes from Tracy, who's the Pharmacy Program and Services Manager within PAG, Platform Alliance Group.
Yeah.
Now, she also looked after the CDC brand. She was one of your coaches, and she wants to know, what is your why? Why do you do this? Why do you bother spending all this time, spending all this money, investing in all these programs and all these technologies? Why do you go out there and talk to doctors? Why are you doing this?
Because I guess when I was still a student, my mentor said to me at that time, we need to, as a pharmacist, we need to continue to challenge ourselves. Yes, we need to find a way there's always a way to do things a bit more efficiently or better or more profitable, but we can't be content with what we have, because if you are content, then, for example, when challenges come back in the days when the codeine got taken off from S2 and S3, become prescription only, to now the 60 days, So if we are content with what we have and we don't prepare, so when the opportunity comes, you won't be able to grab it because you're just not in the position to take it. So that is a very big motivation for me to challenge myself to say, okay, great. As an example, with the packing, I used to have boxes of patient everywhere, full cupboard, because I do about maybe 180 at that time. I'm just at capacity. I physically cannot take on more, but there is obviously a need. I want to grow. So I moved to VPN with SureMed, which is also part of the program that the CDC recommends, right? So then it becomes, I've got a little VPN. So I eliminate all the boxes. I'm just working on I think 1 meter bench space, and with my meds at the back. So I just do that so I can accommodate growth. So I grew to maybe 200 odd patients, but then I need to have 2 staff 4 days a week to pack that. So it becomes very laborious again, and extra resources that I need to put in. So then, okay, what's the next step? How can I do it better? Automation, get the robot in. Then I reposition the packer. So I have 2 packers 4 days a week, to now I only need 1 packer to pack 260 packs Monday and Tuesday. And that's it. So I just reposition, I just sort of redeploy the other packer to become my DA and support the dispensary outside. So that's, I suppose, that's the motivation. So I can, not to say save on wages, but I could utilize my staff out there to upskill and be that subject matter for, I don't know, nicotine or quit smoking.
The various programs.
Yeah.
You're always pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yes. So you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's what that's what I've been taught as well. So that's been sort of imprinted in my mind, right? That sometimes you just have to be very comfortable being put into an uncomfortable position, and then you'll be fine. That's
well said. Very well said.
Yeah.
Now, ChatGPT also has a question.
Yeah.
We're also embracing technology. So how does Gary from Chemist Discount Center Gosnells infuse creativity and passion into the everyday operation of the pharmacy, making it not just a place for medication, but a hub for community wellness and enjoyment?
I guess that question will sort of summarize our discussion. I think, if you put everything together, as I said to you, I enjoy developing programs that is beneficial, obviously, to the pharmacy, right? You generate more revenue, more income. Everybody, in business wants to do that. And you can assure that your other, colleagues, your doctor colleagues will also benefit financially, right? And obviously, when you have those success stories of, patient gain 20 years of their life back with the program that I implemented, that gives me satisfaction and gives me motivation to continue to challenge myself and say, okay, I'm doing this. Is there a better way? How can I do it better? What can I do? And
not only that, Gary, but your team starts to enjoy coming to work.
Yes, that's correct. And they have a purpose.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate, and touch wood, and I hope that doesn't change. The culture at the business is very good. So I don't really have a lot of staff turnover. I have a staff which is, I think, she's over 17 years, and all my pharmacists have been with us for more than 7 years, long service leaves. I know you have to pay out, which is a pain. But, but that just shows that I don't really have,
that they love where they work.
Yeah, I think so. And they can see a purpose and they enjoy coming to work. And we just have to manage that stress level where, if automation could help, absolutely. We want to embrace technology because I believe that would make our life easier. Yeah. So
and happiness is infectious.
Yes. So I suppose that the main point that I like to make is that the person that you need to look after, selfishly for myself, I need to look after myself first. So I need to make sure I'm not under stress. I'm not under the pump. I've got family, I've got 2 kids. I need to make sure that I have a balance, work-life balance. I enjoy what I do. Because only if you are enjoying what you're doing and you don't have that pressure, then you can develop, then you can treat your patients or your staff or your colleague well. Because if you're under pressure, under stress, I guarantee you won't be able to do any of that. So the first person and I say to my doctors, I say to my colleague, is the person that you need to look after first is yourself. When you are happy and stress-free, then you are able to provide the best care to your patient. So that has been my guiding principle. And whatever I do, right, then that's sort of the steps that I follow. Look after yourself.
Amazing.
Yes, look after yourself.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Melody.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
I will see you at APP. I'll see you at APP.
Yes,
and I'm going to be hoping that you bring that trophy home.
I hope so too. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
right.
Gary.
Thanks, Melody. Thank you. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
At Platform Alliance Group, We believe that success is not just about individual accomplishments, but also about lifting each other up. Together, we can build a thriving and prosperous pharmacy industry that meets the needs of the patients and supports the Australian health system. Thank you for joining us today on the PAGCAST. And don't forget to share, like, and leave us a comment if you have found this episode of value or have any feedback. The PAGCAST is promoted through social media, LinkedIn, YouTube, and major podcast platforms. And each episode can be found at the Pharmacy View webpage with links to the guest contact and business details. So once again, thank you for joining us today on the PAGCAST, and see you soon.